Hello beautiful people, my name is Shelby. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about gender identities. As always, if I use a gender related word that you don't quite understand, just go ahead and check out the description because I probably put the definition down there for you. So first of all, let's talk about cisgender. Cisgender is somebody whose biological sex and gender match. Biological sex is what your genitals are when you come out of the womb. That is your biological sex. Your gender is what you identify as. So usually it's he, she, or they. Those are pronouns and those are genders. I could have a penis, but I could still be a woman. So biological sex and gender have nothing to do with each other. Gender nonconformist is somebody who does not follow the guidelines of the gender binary, which means that they don't identify as a gender at all. This is also called agender, which means that you don't have a gender whatsoever at any time. So your pronouns would usually be they. Androgyny is the combination of femininity and masculinity into one person. So you could still identify as a woman or a man or gender nonconformist, but your appearance is like a combination between masculine and feminine. Androgyny is not a gender, it's just how you present yourself. The third gender is somebody who doesn't feel like a man or a woman, but still feels like they have a gender. So they usually go by they pronouns. However, there are also people that don't fall in the gender binary, which means that they don't have a gender, who also use they and them pronouns. But the third gender is a gender that isn't man or woman, but it still is a gender. If you don't identify with any gender, then you're agender. If you identify with two genders, then you're bigender. If you identify with more than two, but less than all of them, you're polygender. And if you identify with all the genders, then you're pangender. However, if you feel like you switch back and forth between genders at different times, that means that you're gender fluid. Gender fluidity is something that everybody with multiple genders can feel. So let's say you're a bigender, gender fluid person. That means that you identify as two genders, but perhaps not at the same time. So you go back and forth between the two genders at any given time, any given day. Just whenever you feel like one gender, you are that gender, and then if you feel like another gender, then you are that gender. So that's for somebody who identifies with two genders at different times. But if you identify with them simultaneously, that means that you're not gender fluid, you're just bigender. But gender fluidity is just going through the genders, whichever genders you identify as. So if you feel like you're going back and forth between two genders, then you're a bigender, gender fluid. If you feel like you're going back and forth between more than two but less than all of the genders, then you're a polygender, gender fluid. But if you feel like you just go back and forth between all of the genders at any given time, then you're a pangender, gender fluid. Okay, that's what gender fluidity is: polygender, bigender, agender. Okay. Transgender means that you're a different gender than the gender you were assigned at birth. If I was born with the biological sex of a woman and I identify as a man, that means that I am transgender. But if I was born with the biological sex of a man and I identify as a woman, then I'm also transgender. Some people who are gender nonconformists consider themselves transgender because they are not identifying as the gender that they were assigned at birth. But being that they are gender nonconformists, that means that they aren't a gender. So some people who are gender nonconformists don't identify as transgender. Some do, some don't. If they don't, then they aren't. If they do, then they aren't. That's just the way it is. Okay, so a demigender is somebody who identifies as a demigirl or a demi-boy. So this means that they partially identify with the feminine quality or a masculine quality, but not completely. They don't identify with the female gender or the male gender, but they identify as partially a female or partially a male. Pronouns for them usually are they or them, but sometimes they could be like a gender fluid person who sometimes feels more feminine on some days and will use like she pronouns. So it's like she or they for them. You just have to ask. Everybody has different preferences for the gender. All you have to do is ask. If it's in a safe environment, I guarantee they will tell you. A demi person doesn't necessarily have to identify as gender nonconformist or identify with the third gender, but they could be like a man who identifies partly as a demi woman. So they kind of identify with the female gender, but not completely. But that is all I have for you today. I really hope you found this video enjoyable and informative. If you liked it, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to comment down below and give me video suggestions that I should do. Next week, we'll be talking about sexualities for gender nonconformist people. Because if you don't have a gender, then you can't be like, oh, I'm gay. Oh, I'm straight. oh, I'm a lesbian. Like, you can't say that, because then you would be also identifying as a gender who likes either the same gender or the opposite gender. Next week, I'll be letting you guys know all about sexualities for gender nonconformist people. So if that's something you're interested in, please be sure to go down below, hit that button, and subscribe. Or if you don't want to subscribe, you can just like come back next week, but just subscribe, like, just come on. Also, if you want to see more of me, I will leave a link to my other YouTube channel in the description below. I post more like comedy content. Sometimes I post vlogs, but not like all the time, just sometimes. So if you like me, then you can go and look there. I post videos every Monday. And thank you so much for everyone who has subscribed. It just makes me so happy. But yeah, I'm just so glad that people care about this subject. Like, I don't know. But the sun is setting, so I need to leave. Like, yeah. Okay. Bye.